Residents of Marikana Informal Settlement are appealing to Police Minister Bheki Cele for assistance in combating persistent crime in their area. On Friday, Minister Cele, National Police Commissioner Fani Masemola and Gauteng Community Safety MEC Faith Mazibuko convened an imbizo in the area for some analysis. We speak to crime and policing expert Calvin Rafadi. Calvin, thank you so much for joining us this evening on News at Prime. Now, the police minister hasn't minced his words, saying anyone who comes at police with a firearm, the police will shoot back. This has been welcomed by many because, as you can understand, South Africans have had enough of crime. Before we get to what was unpacked at this imbizo yesterday and today, what are your thoughts on this kind of a renewed stance on how to fight with criminals, to kind of fight fire with fire?
Yeah, good evening and good evening to your viewers. First of all, I think we must first applaud the police on the arrest of the 6 suspects of Mr. Luke, the soccer player. They've done a great job indeed by arresting swiftly those 6 suspects. Now, coming to the issue of police fighting fire with fire, we welcome that because if criminals are trigger happy, police shouldn't sit back. They must actually shoot at those criminals because of they cannot be pushed back by criminals or even fear them, as they know that they are well armed and they shoot back at the police. So indeed, every criminal must be aware that if you shoot at the police or any ordinary citizen, you will be shot back by the police, and we welcome that as well.
Calvin, if you can explain to us, I mean, of course we are governed by laws, but how did we get to a point where, police are having to be super cautious, erring on the side of caution, and not being able to fight fire with fire? Why did we wait to this point where they are definitely outnumbered and definitely outgunned?
Yeah, look, the issue about criminals, when you deal with crime, we always say that police need to be proactive. Now, if one is proactive, even though you go for a raid, the police should be aware which house they are targeting and which type of policing they should combat or make an arrest. You get your specialized task force in the police, you get your public order policing, you get your NIU. Now, those are the ones that go on the forefront if the criminals are well armed. But because they go on the forefront, they are led by the commander who has the intelligence on how many people they need to arrest, how many are armed, how many are trigger happy. To a point that some they will be arrested, some they will be shot, obviously. But, those type of operation, we've done them together with the police many a times, especially in the hostels, of which we heard today. They spoke about the issues of the hostels. And hostels, you cannot just go and raid, randomly without having special task force like your NIU, public order policing, so that you know who are the trigger happy, who are well armed, and, not only to go and shoot, but you are ready and have the data of who are well armed and trigger happy.
As you speak of, the intelligence that would go into, for instance, going into a hostel, we saw that, the top brass of the police holding their imbizos as well were in hostel communities. But again, when they go to these communities, they're told the same thing, that they are under siege, they feel not protected by the police. And we've seen plenty of these kinds of imbizos, and police leadership listen to communities, tell them that their cries are being heard. But then we don't see the outcome of these imbizos. The police minister went to the hostel. The residents said, look, we have a problem of police corruption as well. But that doesn't seem to be going away.
Yeah, well, indeed. We go around in circle. Maybe perhaps it's because we're not diagnosing the problem to the latter. It's a collective effort where other stakeholders like your COPTA should be involved in the same imbizo. Department of Health should be involved in the same imbizo, Department of Education. Let's take, for instance, the visit of imbizo yesterday at the Marikana. They covered the whole of Sebokeng and the Val area. We go on the ground. We know of a problem by some of the gang members that camouflage as being good within the community. There's a cult that is called the gang name. One of them is called Fire. Another one is called John Wick. Those are their nicknames. But they come under a group by the name of Taudi Aurora. They even recruit kids from school, whereby they give them a bracelet with some of the beads that can identify some of their gang memberships, whereby even when the teachers try to reprimand them, the very same group, they go and terrorize the teachers at schools. So, those are some of the issues that were supposed to be discussed at those imbizos together with the Department of Education, because of a black child cannot grow having role models of criminals, having to be recruited in such gangs, whereby they end up being well armed. I mean, one of those trigger-happy gangsters that I'm talking about, he was running an illegal initiation school, to a point that when initiation school was closed, he went and shot in the church office of the police station of Mafatsane. Those were issues that were also supposed to be addressed with all the stakeholders, so that we can diagnose the problem and get it off, of the streets of Sebokeng and the whole of the park. And coming to the issues of the hostels, hostels are not constantly raided. They need to be fully raided because there's a lot of guns there. Even some of them, they are legal firearms. But you cannot own a legal firearm without having a safe in that particular facility. It is illegal. So you cannot be having so many guns around in hostels, to a point that if you know the language of how to buy a gun in the hostel, like, you go in the hostel, you say, I need the Geja. It's a rifle. I need the Lizulu. It's a 9mm. So, they easily access guns in the hostels, and hostels are not properly rated. So what the donors are crying off is because of they see a bakkie driving into the hostel and driving out. Those bakkies, they just go to, some of those police are residents there. Some they just go and see their friends, or, just for a complaint. But to go and apprehend the suspect, a dangerous suspect in the hostels, you need special task force. So those are issues that they need to be addressed, and these hostels, they need to be constantly raided.
You made mention of sometimes community members also knowing these culprits as well. I'm also knowing the police who are complicit in these crimes as well. They raised concerns in Soweto today, and the police commissioner and the minister, Begitele, had encouraged residents to say, if you do know of a top cop or a police official who is doing dubious acts, please report it. I mean, how effective is that, to go to the police station or even to an iPad as an ordinary community member to say, I know that there's a police officer that goes and frequents this home where we know that there are alleged either drug dealers or whatever kind of criminal activity is going on there, but we see police vehicles outside there as well. How effective and constructive is it for the police leadership to tell residents, well, look, just go and report these, what they call rotten potatoes?
Yeah, no, it is very crucial to report them, especially to the high authorities, like you report them at provincial organized crimes or national organized crimes, because organized crimes in the subs, they are well equipped to even open inquiries on police who are living beyond their means, meaning their lifestyle audit, they live beyond their salary, like what the minister said, that you must choose, you can't commit crime and say you're earning less. There are many police who are living beyond their salary, and they are in cahoot of criminals. But organized crime, they are fully equipped to go on an inquiry, open an inquiry on this particular police members, and even eradicate them from the police force because they are rotten.
What are the other big challenges, Calvin? We know that the police are under-resourced. We know about the corruption problems as well. And also sometimes they don't have sufficient tools to be able to fight crime, whether it be that they don't have enough police vehicles or, for instance, the correct technology to be spread out across the country. Of course, also things like 1011 not working properly don't help. What are the main challenges that the police could get right with just a little bit of better resourcing?
To get the organized crime and crime off the streets, police need to be proactive. But like we say, crime intelligence is missing in action. I mean, we heard even from one political leader saying, how does crime intelligence paid 300 for information of a Schedule 6 crime. And indeed, just to correct him, it's not 300 rand, it's 3,000. And by now we thought they will come and address it because informants on the ground, they've got information. They can tell the police the data on how to be proactive. So we need to strengthen the crime intelligence. They need to sort out this issue of payments of informants because that's where they'll get the data on eradicating organized crime, even role models that are within our communities, even those who are selling firearms and drugs. Now, coming to the issue of visible policing, you stay in the same community, you must police the same area, and other police, they are even scared because at the end of the day, they knock off. They must go and sleep in the same backyard of a syndicate of some sort. So even those who are visible policing on the ground, they are scared. They are also under siege. But we need to strengthen this thing of crime intelligence to be proactive. And we thought by now they could have came and addressed the nation on, you know what, so and so as a police expert is lying. There's no such thing as 3,000 rand informant settlement. We need to address that issue because it is very crucial to eradicate and be proactive in combating crime.
One can't blame them because these criminals are getting more and more brazen and more dangerous. So, ordinarily one would be scared. But if the police are scared, where does that leave us as citizens? Where to from here?
Yeah, we cannot throw a towel. We've got kids to raise, and we cannot let criminals take over in our communities. If people have got information, they need to report it to the nearest police station. If you feel that it is not properly ventilated, go to the province, go to town, their head offices, irrespective that, the telecom towers is closed there in Pretoria, which is the national office, but there are other offices around, like you can even go and knock in Silverton at the office of the Hawks, but people need to give out information so that it can be properly ventilated by the police, and they need to act upon it. And if they don't, we try our best to even report such in the media, like why I mentioned some of these syndicates like Fire and John Wick. I feel that, police are looking the other side and these criminals are acting brazen. So if we come out on the media and expose their modus operandi and the recruitment that they carry out to our kids, maybe perhaps they'll wake up and then they will be dealt with.
Well, thank you so much for your insights and your time this evening. That was crime and policing expert Calvin Rafadi.